The standoff hits a breaking point. Saya keeps mocking Sayer, acting like his words are just garbage, while the gluttonous captain and the red-haired officer watch. This humiliation pushes Sayer over the edge. His face twists into a look of pure, uncontrollable rage. Unable to hold back his anger, Sayer screams at them to shut up and charges forward, dark purple energy trailing behind him. He throws a massive punch at the group, yelling for them to die. Saya just watches in shock, totally unprepared for the sudden attack. The group is forced to react instantly. The gluttonous captain and the red-haired officer barely manage to block the hit. Sayer doesn't stop. He glares at them with glowing eyes, focusing all his hatred on the three of them. He unleashes a crazy barrage of attacks, screaming at them to get out as he throws punch after punch. The captain and the officer are forced to block the heavy blows, struggling to hold their ground. The battle turns into a massive clash of energy in the air. It creates shockwaves that leave the bystanders below, including Tangdun, watching in awe. Realizing the danger, the level 11 and 12 warriors around them lose the will to fight. They start fleeing in panic, scattering everywhere to escape. In the middle of the chaos, Tangdun nervously asks Saya if they should fight or run. Saya hesitates, looking anxious. Suddenly, Tangdun's face turns to confusion and fear as he notices something else. Panic spreads completely when someone screams that high-level alien beasts are everywhere. The other recruits run for their lives in terror. Saya is left paralyzed with shock. His eyes go wide as he watches the nightmare unfolding right in front of him. From the purple void of space, a horrifying mix of monsters starts to come out. Skeletal faces, bat-like creatures, and horned demons appear one by one, tearing through reality. A massive, multi-headed serpent towers over the area. Countless alien beasts surge from all directions, forming a dense black tide that completely covers the sky. Saya, standing next to the rockman Tongdun and another recruit, shakes in terror. He screams, demanding to know what is happening as the group realizes they are trapped. The massive scale of the invasion is revealed. Hundreds of powerful auras fill the space. Giant dragons, flying insects, and huge monsters float in the void, totally outnumbering the tiny group of humans. The giant beasts look down at the recruits with glowing evil eyes, surrounding them completely. The recruits lose all hope. The warriors look up with pale, sweaty faces, muttering that it's all over. Even the guides are shaken. The gluttonous captain looks around in confusion, unable to understand how such a huge army could appear. The red-haired officer watches with a tense, worried look. The possessed sire takes advantage of their shock, laughing maniacally. He calls them fools for thinking they could escape, reminding them that his master owns this space. He launches a massive attack from the air, hitting the captain and the officer with immense force. The impact is brutal. The gluttonous captain screams in pain as his glasses shatter and he is sent flying backward, cursing the situation. Despite the bad odds, the red-haired officer refuses to give up. Blue energy surges around her body as she glares at the enemy, calling Sire stubborn and preparing to fight back. However, the remaining recruits are paralyzed by fear. They realize with deep despair that while fighting Sire was hard enough, facing this endless army of high-level beasts makes survival impossible. Sire floats triumphantly in front of his massive army, flanked by a giant purple dragon, a horned demon, and insect-like monsters. This army is powerful enough to destroy a star sector millions of times over. The recruits are left with one terrifying thought: there is absolutely no escape. Sire stands in the void, surrounded by his dark aura, and gives the terrified recruits a final choice. With a sinister smile, he tells them they have two options: join him or choose to die, as he clenches his fist and glares with intense evil. The threat of immediate death leaves the recruits, including the bald warrior and his friends, paralyzed with absolute terror. The silence is broken when a trembling hand rises from the crowd. It belongs to a man in a suit identified as Level 11 Warrior, Carl. Sweating nervously, Carl stammers that he is willing to join Sire to save himself. Immediately, a force pulls Carl into the air, and he flies uncontrollably across the gap toward the enemy. Sire catches him with a welcoming gesture and leans in close to Carl's face. With a twisted grin, he promises that Carl won't regret this decision and assures the terrified man that he is now safe. Completely submitting to his new master, Carl bows his head deeply and thanks Lord Sal for his mercy. Carl's face reveals his mental state. While there is a faint trace of regret, it is overshadowed by a crazy smile of relief, happy to have survived the disaster. Seeing that surrender brings safety, the morale of the other recruits collapses instantly. Desperate to live, they start raising their hands and shouting over one another, begging to join Sire too. Saya, with a cigarette hanging from his mouth, looks around in total confusion and shock. He He can't believe how quickly everyone is giving up. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng stands silently in the crowd, watching the mass surrender with a cold look. He reflects on how weak human nature is. Under the pressure of life and death, dignity and principles come second, because no cultivator who worked so hard for power wants to die easily. The situation gets worse quickly as more recruits choose to surrender. The tension on the enemy side strangely disappears, replaced by the sound of the traitors laughing and chatting happily with the possessed leader. Carl, the first to surrender, sucks up to Sayer with a shameless smile. He hopes Lord Sal will take good care of them in the future, and Sayer responds with a satisfied grin. Lu Sheng watches this pathetic display calmly. He thinks that once people make a choice, even a shameful one like betrayal, they naturally invent countless reasons to justify it to themselves just to feel better. He analyzes their motivation. Most warriors know their limits. For the average genius, integrating 2 or 3 rules at level 12 is their peak. They view breaking through to level 13 as an impossible dream. Lu Sheng concludes that it is this despair, this lack of belief in their own potential, that drove them to gamble their luck on this battlefield in the first place. Turning to the only 2 people left by his side, Lu Sheng smiles and asks Tang Dun and Saya what they plan to do in this hopeless situation. Saya, despite sweating with fear and smoking nervously, gives a surprisingly firm answer. He declares that he still wants to wait for the reinforcement, Lord Hai Jidao, stating that betraying his own species is the worst crime imaginable. His expression turns serious as he adds a practical reason for his loyalty. He argues that while other places might allow for negotiation, being caught as a traitor on the different sky battlefield guarantees immediate execution without mercy. Tang Dun tells Lu Sheng that treason would doom his family and descendants, shaming them for generations. He refuses to bring that burden upon them, deciding he would rather wait for help than betray humanity. Hearing this logical and honorable response, Lu Sheng looks at Tang Dun with a genuine, approving smile. Nearby, the gluttonous captain notices that Lu Sheng's small group has refused to move. A look of relief washes over his injured face as he realizes he hasn't been completely abandoned. Seizing this moment of moral victory, the gluttonous captain screams at Sire. He points proudly at Lu Sheng and his friends, taunting the beast that not everyone is a coward who fears death, proving that some humans still have a backbone. With a demonic grin stretching across his face, the possessed sire mocks the remaining survivors, asking if they truly believe their lord is still coming to save them. The gluttonous captain and the red-haired officer look at him with a mix of confusion and anger, demanding to know what he means. Sire stands arrogantly before his new followers, sneering that for a level 13 expert, distance is meaningless, so help should have arrived by now. He spreads his arms, unleashing swirling dark energy, and reveals a terrifying truth. The great Lord of Oblivion has already wiped the memory of their rescue mission from Lord Hai Jidao's mind. Sire laughs maniacally, telling them that the reinforcement they are praying for is likely sipping tea back at the base, completely unaware of their existence. This leaves only the fools to wait for a savior who will never come. The revelation hits the guides hard. The gluttonous captain shouts in disbelief while the red-haired officer curses in frustration, their hope shattering. Beside them, Saya's resolve begins to crack. He turns to Lu Sheng with a terrified look, asking if they are completely done for and begging to know what they should do now. However, Saya pauses as he looks at Lu Sheng. He notices that despite the hopeless news, Lu Sheng keeps his usual calm expression. This makes Saya wonder if this mysterious man still has a solution. But panic quickly takes over again. Saya and Tang Dun hug each other, crying comical streams of tears as they wail that without Hai Jidao, they are doomed to die right there. Lu Sheng interrupts their pity party with a sharp scolding, asking if they really just believe everything the enemy tells them like obedient little lambs. Standing with his hands in his pockets, he calmly breaks down Sire's lie. He explains that to easily erase the memory of a level 13 expert like Hai Jidao would require someone even stronger, at least a level 14 entity. With a cool, logical look, Lu Sheng asks them to think clearly. Does a level 14 expert really have any reason to personally act against a small, insignificant group like them?